What it do, guys? J2K back for a video over here. Today what we will be going over is rebuilding the 2020-2021 Phoenix Suns, and probably can do another season or two after that. Let's see how we can cover right here. First of all, I simulated the rest of the quarantine season. Within that, we just still stayed in at a negative record, did not make the playoffs, and took a lot of L's during that time period. So we're skipping over here into the off season. Number one, we're going to keep Monty Williams on his team. I like what he's integrated within this team mindset within Devin Booker, with Ricky Rubio and a bunch of the other young cats of Kelly Oubre, and then Dario Saric. I'm going to be keeping him for the tenure of this team. There's not coaches out there that that really catch my eye. I think Monty Williams, he was coaching the Pelicans back with AD a couple years back to where they made their first playoff appearance. Decided to fire him. I don't know the reason. Took forward Alvin Gentry. I think Alvin Gentry is a very overrated coach. When it comes to Monty Williams, I do love this signing. Well, we do have him within here for the Phoenix Suns. Now, guys, what I'm going to be doing is skimming over here to the NBA draft. So let's kind of review the team what we have as of right now. We have a 23-year-old Devin Booker, just made his first All-Star appearance. Shout out Dame Lillard, DeAndre Ayton. So basically right now, as a building block, Devin Booker is definitely number one. All these other pieces on this team is movable for me. What I am looking to do within this video is, basically we're in the Western Conference, and for us to actually be in the playoffs and even to, make a finals or even win a championship, realistically, that's going to be 5 or 6 years from now. What I'm trying to do is ump the pace, and I don't want to be just a mediocre team. I want to get some star players into here. So why not just bring in Devin Booker with his two best buds of Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell. So that's what my plan is here. See if we can round up a realistic trade with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because whenever you are looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves as of right now, their team isn't going to go anywhere. You have Karl-Anthony Towns, who's been there for around 5 seasons, around 6 or so, turning 24 years old, back with D'Angelo Russell. I think these two need to be on the same team, but with the Phoenix Suns, with Devin Booker, not the Minnesota Timberwolves. What we can do is we can give off a very good trade package to the Wolves, and I think this is something that they can't turn down. So on the next screen, I'll show you what I will be providing for them. Alright guys, we're back on the trading screen. So whatever I did do before, back a couple minutes ago, I was working. We were in the NBA draft, and we did have the number 1 pick here with the Phoenix Suns, and we did select LaMelo Ball. Now, whatever I'm looking, if you look at the screen right now, this is my thought process. I want to go big whenever it comes to this team. I want Devin Booker with 2 other stars of Karl-Anthony Towns, as well as with D'Angelo Russell. So whatever I'm planning to do right here, this is the trade that's going to work out. I'm going to send to the Minnesota Timberwolves, so they're basically going to give us Karl-Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell. They've been on that team for 6 years with Cat. D'Angelo Russell just hopped on there. They're not going to make the playoffs if they just kept their team, even adding any other players. So we want to give them a new, re-advised new team with new blood and new life force. So we're going to send them over DeAndre Ayton, Kelly Oubre Jr., LaMelo Ball, as well as I put a third team with the Denver Nuggets. They're going to receive Michael Porter Jr. and Gary Harris. Now, they already have a starting 5, a young starting 5. Both teams are sending to them. I'm also going to include a second trade after this. I'm going to send them over 2 to 3 first-round picks. I believe the Minnesota Timberwolves in real life would consider this and actually get this done with, bringing in a star like LaMelo Ball, DeAndre Ayton, and Michael Porter Jr. to give them new blood and new life force to where they can make the playoffs in a couple of years. Back with Denver, they're going to let go of Michael Porter Jr. and Gary Harris. Gary Harris has around 20 years, 2 more years. I know they want to get rid of him, so what we're going to do is we're going to send over a veteran point guard like Ricky Rubio, who fit in perfectly in that European style of play with Mike Malone and Nikola Jokic. Also going to send in a small forward, a young one, Mikal Bridges, and then Frank the Tank. I think he will fit in very nicely. They do receive as well as Jake Layman. We're going to eat up James Johnson's $16 million deal here. That's something the Minnesota Timberwolves can appreciate. They won't have to deal with that. And I'm also going to send over a couple picks to the Denver Nuggets. Overall, guys, I think this is a very fair trade when it comes to long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept this trade, as well as I'll let you know my second trade when it comes to the draft picks. Alright guys, second part of adding this trade, I'm going to send over 2 first round picks from this year and next year of our Suns team to Minnesota. So now they have around 3 to 4 to 5 years to where they build that young core they already have with LaMelo Ball, DeAndre Ayton, as well as they have 2 first-round picks. I'm going to send over a 2023 first-round pick over to Denver, as well as a couple of second-round picks to them. So to where they can be able to have their veterans that we did send to them, and then they could appreciate getting another young stud back in the day. But I'm going to accept this trade, guys, and as well as cover the next off-season trades and acquisitions. So as of right now, our team's looking very nicely on the new Phoenix Suns. Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, D'Angelo Russell, a perfect big three. They're only 23, 24 years. Going to enter their prime pretty soon. So whenever in a couple 3 to 4 years, this team is definitely going to be a championship contender as of right now. Now we have to do is going to have to eat up James Johnson's contract and trade some of these young guns here to where we can be able to get some veterans on this team to be able to get these guys up. So I'm going to make some trades and signings within free agency. And I'll let you know in the beginning of the season what our trades or whatever our season is going to look like for our roster for 2021. And we back. What's up, guys? All right, so last time where I let go, we made the big trade, D'Angelo Russell as well as Karl Anthony Towns to join the team. Now, what I did do, all right, guys, well, I'm going to end it off here. Of all my cap space, made some trades for second rounders where we can clear up our cap second round, keeping that big three together for a couple of years. $27 million with the finals at least 1 to 2 years. Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns with $23 million or $27 million left remaining. Great thing with these young cats right here. They're not getting paid a lot, so what we can do is fill out the rest of our roster with great role players. I don't need any other stars because we're going to be focused on the offense between these 3 guys to build up with. So first thing I thought of was Derrick Jones Jr. For $10 million for a 3-year contract, so $30 million total. This is a team where I want to be up and running, fast break. And with Derrick Jones Jr., he fits that mode as well as he's a great glue player. He doesn't need the ball in his hands as much. And he can get offensive boards for us, make hype plays with dunks. I wanted to get a younger center, but there's nothing I could really find that would be much of an impact. I did move Karl Anthony Towns to the power forward position. I think this is more of a natural position for him in a better feel and flow, starting off a game. So we do have our 2 twin towers, 7-footer cat as well as JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee, he just left the Los Angeles Lakers. He pretty much has 2 to 3 championships under his belt, so this would be a great quote-unquote mentor. I mean, it is a Shaq and a full player, but the last 3-4 years with Golden State, LA, he has now filled the roles as a starter, championship degree, and I think defensively this team's going to be monster, as well as our offensive flow. I did keep Dario Saric on our bird rights, so I could obtain him back on this team. A great shooter with D'Lo as well as with Devin Booker. I brought in a backup point guard, DJ Augustine. I believe in real life we can talk him into a little less money, not a veteran's minimum, depending, because I feel like he can get paid elsewhere on another team. But with 2K, the case is we can take him as a veteran minimum. Torrey Craig, a great 3-and-D player. Damari Carroll, bring in that 4 and a 3 type to where we can run small ball. Another mentor as well as a player who's 31 years old, great defensive mind. Jonathan Simmons, very underrated. I'm surprised no one has picked him up on the team as currently today. This will be a great player for our team. Justin Anderson, another low-key player who's been on the Dallas Mavericks and the Celtics, going back and forth. Very underrated when he was on the Mavericks. And brought back Tyson Chandler, but for a veteran's minimum. We're going to need some mentorship for Karl Anthony Towns. Then as well as the next players, we have Wesley Matthews, a great 3-and-D sniper. I don't know why in 2K they digress him to a 73. He should be around a 79 in real life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump up to a 79 to make it realistic. Brandon Knight, very underrated, hasn't been on a team for a year or 2. I think this is something to where he can be rejuvenated as a third point guard for us. And then Allen Crabbe, another underrated catch and shoot. He can actually run as a 6-man, not for this series as right here because we have many other players, but what we can be able to do is bump him up within that. I'm very excited about this team, guys. We have our mentors, we have our veterans, as well as our shooters within the Phoenix Suns. We're keeping Monty Williams as our starting coach, so I'll get back to you guys within here, as well as see how the calendar and season does play out. But real quickly, guys, let me check into the Minnesota Timberwolves of how they're shaping up. So LaMelo Ball at the point guard. Let's see what they got here. Gary Harris, he's a fine shooting guard for this team. Michael Porter Jr., Kelly Oubre. They're very deep on the 3. Let's see on the 4. Oh, they picked up Davis Bertans. Great pickup for this team. And Paul Millsap Okay, so it looks like the Timberwolves are going to be in the playoffs. Let's see, okay, they could probably use another 5, but they can run these guys. Yeah, guys, so what I'm going to do is simulate, see if the Timberwolves made the playoffs, as well as what I actually expect for this team, for the Suns. I expect us to be around, at least at worst, a 5th seed. So let's jump in, guys. Let's see if we can at least get to the 4th or 5th seed and get to the second round. Alright guys, so the season has just ended. We finished off the season 42-40. In my defense, Devin Booker was hurt around 3 to 4 weeks, as well as we had different injuries back and forth. This was not a stabilized team when it comes to injuries all around the board. But what I was able to do was, I was never really feeling JaVale McGee too much. I liked his defensive presence, but I thought he was, you know, we've seen him too much on a team kind of younger wise. He fits more of a veteran contender type team, so he doesn't really fit right now. I did trade him for Aaron Baines, so we got Aaron Baines to go back up in action, but we did make the playoffs, so we can dive a little further here and see where we ended up. Alright guys, well, as expected before, I did say I expected at least at worst to be a 5th seed, and that's where we did end up. Very weird though, finishing 42-40, that's usually around an 8th seed in the West. Probably not even making the playoffs or so, but we did finish with the 5th seed against the New Orleans Pelicans. So let's see right here if there's still any injuries when it comes to this team. Okay, so we're missing our center. What happened here? So, okay, so we have Wesley Matthews, who's been hurt. He's been underperforming on this team. Probably not the best fit. I'll probably let him go next season, if anything. But Derrick Jones Jr., I definitely want him to start on this team, not Justin Anderson. But I'm glad to see Justin Anderson picking up his potential, especially here in 2K. Alright guys, well, I am liking our starting 5 here. To be honest, when it comes down to our starting 5, I'd rather put Tyson Chandler as our starting 5 center on this team as of right here, because Aaron Baines fits more as an offensive set where he can come off the bench. So Tyson Chandler just has to play, you know, getting the rebounds, being a defensive presence with Karl-Anthony Towns. I think these fit really well. So we are going against the New Orleans Pelicans. I think we should win this in 6 games. Let's see what happens here against Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and the crew. Okay, guys, well, it looks like we're down 2-1. Hopefully, this is probably looking like it's going to go to a Game 7. If anything, I am expecting to go to the second round as expected, and we've lost. All right, guys, well, that's something we're going to have to really retool for next season as of within right here. So the Pelicans do take us off in a 7-game series. You know, this is something we went back and forth with. I thought this is something we can go to the second round, beginning of the season. But overall, guys, if you're looking at the Suns management, bringing these players along, they finally got to their first playoff series together. Karl-Anthony Towns has been in the playoffs 1 time, same thing as Devin Booker, or not Devin Booker, D'Angelo Russell. So very good to see on their part and for the Suns. So the next season, you know, we can expect to go to the second round or conference finals, if anything, the finals within here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate our off season, jump into the next playoffs, and then see how we end up here. Alright guys, so looking at the NBA draft, I was about to skip this, wanted to look at what picks we do have. So we did end up with the 2021 Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers did sign for the Aaron Baines, which I did trade Aaron Baines for, and ended up with the pick. I did not realize this would go number 1. Did not look into the Lakers record. So guys, we have the number 1 pick. So what I will be doing is I'm going to be able to trade that, and I'll show you how I put all the mushes together to where we have our new team. But this is very exciting for the Suns and how we can be able to now probably hit up to the finals.